Hey folks, my name is Michael and this is Eric, and I own a boat rental company and want to talk about motors and the quality of motors that we've experienced since 2018. When we first started this business, we bought Yamaha motors. Everybody said, buy Yamaha, buy Yamaha, buy Yamaha. So we bought Yamahas and they were pretty good motors, a little loud, burned some oil. Then the next year, everybody was like, oh no, you need to buy Mercury. Mercury is the motor to buy. Well, we had a handful of Mercuries and they were good, but they were mediocre. The next year, what was crazy is every year, people had a different idea what was going to be the best motor. Well, the last motor that people suggested was the Suzuki motor. They said it's quiet, they run well, they have, even though, let's say 150 horsepower is almost equivalent to a 200 horsepower of others. They were talking about how they were just, had a little bit more power. So we went with the Suzuki, and at first we were very pleased. The first 6 months these things they ran beautifully. Then there were some things that started happening, some what I'll call fallout areas. One is, and Eric, you can probably explain this a little bit better. When these boats are at 4,500 to 5,000 RPMs, or maybe even a little bit more, every now and then they just completely drop out, and they'll drop down to 1,000 RPMs or even less. And it's very hard to figure out what's wrong with these things. I know, what are some of the things that we found wrong when we've explored that area?
Well, we found a lot of electrical issues on these, from the wiring harnesses to fuse blocks that's tied into the wiring harnesses. They just don't hold up. From new, maybe 6 months, and you got to replace them. I've found issues in the fuse blocks where they're not sealed, and moisture and water's getting in there. I could go on and on with the electrical issues in the harnesses, from front to back, with the wiring harnesses to the fuse blocks to how everything electrical works on this motor.
The second thing I think that we've noticed is steering controls. What's going on with the steering controls? There's something that's always breaking.
So, and the main thing that we're finding is the steering cylinders that are on all these outboards. We're having an issue where the fluid is blowing by basically the puck inside the cylinder and not pushing the cylinder. And basically we've been told we have to have it rebuilt or replace it. So we have to replace them so we have no downtime.
Yeah. One other thing that we're experiencing, I have to get out of the sun a little bit here, is the throttles. There's sometimes that you'll be driving the boat and all of a sudden you can't go forward or reverse. There's a throttle pin or something that's happening.
So there's a linkage that goes from the cable linkage to the linkage that goes to the blade that opens for the throttle, and that linkage maybe lasts a year or two, and then it rusts and breaks, and it's all inside the engine cowling. Just doesn't hold up to the elements, and the time, it only lasts about a year or two before they break.
Okay, and then the next thing that I want to address, and this is really quickly, and this is major. The other things are fairly doable, to fix and that kind of stuff. But the lower ends, without fail, these are lasting. We may be able to get a year off one before they finally go out, and they're extremely expensive. $3,500 to $4,000 almost.
Set it down. We're in at $4,000 every time we have to buy one.
So when you're in the rental market, your warranties don't last that long, and you really don't have the opportunity to even use the rental or the warranty program that much, because it usually takes forever to get parts and that kind of stuff. And you can't wait a day or 2 days when you're renting boats for a certain amount of money. You can't lose that kind of money all the time. These lower ends are absolutely killing us as a business, and here's why. They'll just stop. There's no warning or anything. These people will be out on the water. You have a client out on the water, a bachelorette party or a family or whatever, and you got to go rescue these people. So then you're paying sea tow, or you're bringing out another boat if you even have one, or having it towed back, and you have to refund the money. You have to pay to have the new lower end, and it usually takes a week or 2 weeks to get a lower end, so you lose all the rental money for that amount of time. This is a major issue with these Suzuki motors. We were pleased for the first year. I'm in a place now where I have 12 boats, actually getting ready to bring our 13th boat in, and I'm thinking about replacing all the motors and haven't decided what yet. I'm hoping that Suzuki steps forward and addresses these issues, in particular these lower ends. I've probably bought in a period of I buy at least 2 or 3 lower ends every year, and that gets old because these motors should last much longer than that.
I agree.
Other than that, the performance on them is really good when they're running well, but those are some major issues that Suzuki has to fix for a rental company, for anyone else, even an individually owned company. If it's just your boat and you want to take it out and enjoy it, those are going to be issues that you're going to face almost within 6. Now, obviously, you're not putting the hours on it that a rental company is, but those are some issues that will surface. Thanks so much for watching.
Thank you.